Hello, welcome to IWS4 episode 7. I am super pumped and so glad to be here today. It's just like the weather's awesome, life is awesome, and yeah, you're in safe hands. I know it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. And I think if I look back, when I was looking back, I realised like the last one that I did was talking about sex. It's almost like I just dropped a bombshell, like poof, and then disappeared. And now I'm back. Not to pick up the pieces, no, we've moved on from there. Just to actually give you an update as to where I'm at and maybe some thoughts between then and now. And like kind of what I'm feeling at this moment in time in this season of waiting. Because like I said before, like it's not, you wait for the rest of your life, you're always going to be waiting on something. And each phase and each step, there's always something to learn. And I feel like I've had to take some time out to just be, to just see what is it that I'm actually learning. Because sometimes you can go on a journey and you're just looking towards, just looking at the end line. What's going to happen in the end? You're just focused on the end. And you don't experience the actual journey because you're just focused on the end of the line. And I've had to like sit back a little bit and go, you know what? Can any of this journey be enjoyable? Can you actually enjoy this phase? Because, this is a phase where you are, have a boyfriend, have a partner. Yes. So, and we're getting to know each other and learn about each other. And I've always said that it's an intentional phase. It's not just a phase where you just go in and you're just looking to have a great time and I don't know, doing all the different things that you do to have a great time, but you don't go deep within yourselves to understand essentially what makes you Anyway. You don't go deeper to understand what kind of like makes you tick. So for me, I was just like trying to figure out like, does it have to be that, I don't know, does it have to be like a chore? Or can it actually be like fun as well? Because I've heard so many people say, Christian dating is so boring because it's got just so many rules and regulations and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, there's so many don'ts that you can't do. And the do's that you can do, you probably don't really want to do, or after you've done them, like you want to do something else kind of thing. And that's the kind of rhetoric I've been hearing. But for me, what I'm realizing is that, yes, there is, in this phase, there are two parts. There's the part where you need to get to really know the person, because if you don't know the person, you don't even know whether the person that's showing up is the person that you're going to be married to. If that's, you're going in that direction. So, and you don't even know whether yourself, the version of you, is the version of you the person actually wants to be married to as well. So if you're just like going through and you're putting your best foot forward all the time and they never get to know the true you, they don't see how you cope under pressure or when things are difficult or how you cope in a crowd of people or how you relate to their family, and how you are in your home, are you a tidy person? Are you a messy person? Just little things. It's very easy to clean up the house when someone's coming around, but what if they just like popped in unexpectedly? What would your house be like? Would it still be tidy or would it be an absolute mess? What are the kind of things that you do outside of them? Do you actually have a life outside of them? Like, are you the kind of person that's just like, it's them and nobody, because like it's very easy in the early stages to want to see your partner every day all the time and what have you. But then if you're doing that, then are you cutting out on something else, or did you not have anything there in the first place? So all of these things are important because when you get into your marriage and you don't have any of these foundational steps, is what I'd like to say, then you can have a tough ride. And my prayer to God was always like, you know, if this is truly the person I'm meant to be with, I want to be able to iron out all the issues that we could potentially avoid bringing into marriage, you know, so that they're ironed out at this point. Not that they're deal breakers or anything like that, but just like so that we know how to deal with, you know, with each other when difficult things come in to being. And they always will. It is not a case that you're going to meet somebody and they're going to be like exactly as you imagine them in every shape, form, manner, or way. There's going to have to be some tweaking because they're now in a relationship with you and you're in a relationship with them. So the things the ways you're going to mold in a way and they're going to mold in a way. And the purpose of you molding is that you're molding together to create something beautiful, which is going to be your relationship, which is going to be awesome. So anyway, yeah, so what was I saying? So yeah, but what happens then when you get to that position where you're like, you know what, actually, yeah, like, I think that this person is just it, you know? What happens when you get to that point? And remember, there's two people in that relationship. So like, you may get there before they get there, or they may get there before you get there. But the thing is that you both need to arrive. You both need to be there for like almost like a decision to be made one way or another. It's either they're like, yeah, this is not working out for me, or they're like, yeah, this is it. But I feel like even when you are on that journey to getting there to the point where you go, actually, this is it. This, you know, this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. This is the person that I want to wake up to every day. This is the person that I want to do life with, no matter the highs and the lows and stuff like that, and go through this journey, the rest of the journey that I have or that they have with them. But there comes a period, which is, I guess, what I've been doing, when you just be and you enjoy the relationship, and you start to enjoy the relationship, and you start to sink into it, and you start to just be. And that's a really good place to be, but you can't be if you haven't done the work before. It's almost like, you know, you can't graduate out of university if you haven't gone to the classes and so on and so forth. So if you haven't done the work before, then you can't come to a place of being, because then you, yeah, like, I don't know if it would even work, because there's just going to be things about the person that you're going to be unsure of, and that's going to get in the way of you being. So I'm in this period where it's just nice. It's like, yeah, like, it's really difficult to explain. It's you feel like your love for the person is just growing and growing and growing, and it's not because they've done anything specifically. It's just the fact that you've built this relationship, and it's healthy, and it's blossoming, and it's growing, and it's yielding fruit, and it's yielding good fruit, and that's because of the work that you've done in prior to this point. All the way starting from the friendships phase, all the way through to dating, all the way through to like you spending time together. And now we're able to spend time together with other people as well. And that's just beautiful as well, because you're coming into an arena where they're opening their world to you, and you're opening your world to them, and you're realizing that you can thrive. And it's crazy, because the fact that you can thrive means that, yeah, you've done something right? So this is the stage that I'm at now. So I feel like when you come into the dating phase, before you come into engagement, there's two stages. There's the stage where it's work. Realistically, you're trying to figure out, you know, all the things that you thought about the person when you were friends. When you come into dating, is it still correct? Are there new things coming into play that you need to work with? How you work with these things are really important. I always say to my partner, I was like, we're not having an argument, we're just having a discussion. We're just talking, we're just talking, and we're talking it through, and we want to come to a conclusion that's going to help us both and help the relationship. It's not about I'm winning and you're losing, or vice versa. It's about we're winning, we are moving forward, and we are doing what is right for the relationship and what's in the best interest of the relationship. And as long as we can do that, then we're on to a winner, right? So what happens? What do you do in this phase? I think like you learn to trust more, which is so important, because if you don't trust your partner, I've said this so many times, if you don't trust your partner, they don't trust you, you're just going to have issues. You're just going to be trying to battle all the time. So you learn to trust more. You learn to gain wisdom from each other. You learn to like spend time together just doing nothing. And at the same time, you're happy and you're okay when you're apart, you know, so your world doesn't fall apart just because you guys are separated. But actually you use that period of that time to do things that you ordinarily would like to do. And you just realize that life is good. Life is good. And I don't know, like, obviously this is a phase which I don't expect to, you know, people say don't put timelines on things, but I'm more looking at like, when you go through this phase, it's probably you're looking between 2 to 3 months worth of this phase, because by the time you get to the end of this phase, you are pretty much ready to be engaged and ready to get married, because you know that if I plug you now into any situation, you're gonna be okay. Now, the one thing that I will say as a Christian is that what I've always had to do, what's helped me, is that I have not taken my focus off God. I have always continued to put my focus on God. So no matter what happens, when I've had sad times, because yeah, I've had sad times, there are times I've cried. I'm not going to sit in here and tell you I haven't cried and stuff. He hasn't, he hasn't, you know, brought tears to my eyes. Yes, of course it's happened. But like, but sometimes it's because I've looked at things from a total different viewpoint from how he has. And I've gone to God with it. And I've like said, God, look what's happened. I'm so upset now. God's like, there. It's okay. Like, brush yourself off and go back. But I think it is important that you don't take your eye off God. And you always lean on him to ask him for wisdom and direction. Because like, you know, in doing that, I realized that, you know, my joy comes from God. You know, my joy doesn't come from the person, because he's another human being. And if I put all of that on him, like, that's just so unfair. But my joy comes from God. So it comes from God into me, and it flows from me into him, and vice versa. His joy comes from God, and it goes from God into him, and it flows through him into me. So the joy that we're experiencing is actually the joy from God. The love that we're experiencing is the love from God. We're experiencing love from God first, and it's flowing through us and flowing through to him, as well as it's flowing through to me. And then you start to just do things because you just want to make them happy. You just want to, you know, and vice versa. Like, he wants to make me happy, I want to make him happy. We want to do things that make us both happy. And because we've got so much things that we have in common, like, it's really easy. Like, simple things, you know, even things like when we go and go to a restaurant, we're foodies, so we love to eat. So if you want to be our besties, invite us out for dinner. So yeah, we love to eat, and I love my G&T. So, but the thing is that because we've got so much things in common, we like to do the same thing. So there's not really much clashing, although he does have his stuff that he does on his own, and that's great. And I do have stuff that I do on my own, and that's great. But there's a lot of things that we do together. And one of the things that he does say is that, you know, if you're not moving in the right direction, if you don't want the same things, then that your relationship doesn't work. And I believe that. I think it's true. If you don't want the same things in life, if you're not moving in the same direction together, it's not going to work. This is not about a competition. This is not about I'm better than him or he's better than me. It's about us coming together, pooling our resources together, and then making something even better than what we could have done individually. And I think that's the beauty about our relationship. It's about making something better together than what we could have done individually on our own. Of course, on our own, we would have survived, and we probably would have strived, and we probably would have been okay. But when we come together and we see that our works together are yielding good fruits, that's a sign. So if you are together with somebody and the fruit that you're yielding is not great, then that's also a sign. Like, one thing that I have come to realize is that by me being with my partner, you know, I'm the version of me that I actually want to be. He helps me to be the version of me that I actually want to be. And that's good because, you know, when you're the version of you that you want to be, the version of the version that wants to show and demonstrate love, the version that wants to be hopeful, the version that wants to be filled with hope and faith and kindness and joy, all that kind of stuff. That's the version of me that I want to show up every day. And that's the version of me he gets to see and gets to experience. And he gets to see and that gets to experience it because that's the version of him that I get to see. So when the versions of you both are the same, then you kind of connect. But then you've got to ask yourself the question, what version of you are you connecting on? Is it the version of you that you actually want to be? Or is it a different version of you? Because if you are like a grumpy, upset person, you will connect with a grumpy, upset person. And you'll connect like, you know, how grumpy, upset people connect. But you've got to ask yourself the question, is that the version of you that you want? So, and if that's not the version of you that you want, then, you know, you can change it. And if you change it, one of two things will either happen. They will either change themselves or they will go away and make room for somebody with that version of you to come into your life. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Well, not talk about, I've talked about it. That's all I've got to say about today. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to wish you guys much love. I'm so glad to be back on. Like, I don't know when next I'm going to show up. I'm hoping it'll be next week. But yeah, but if I don't, just know that I'm in a great place. I'm enjoying every bit of my relationship. I am leaning forward into it. I'm learning so much about my partner. He's learning so much about me. We are just being, and you know, and it's good to be. It's good to just be, and we're being, and we're staying connected, and we're staying connected with God, and we are putting God first in our lives, and it's just a wonderful blessing. And yeah, so like, yeah, we'll see what the next phase has. You never know. Anyway, that's it for now. Take care. See you soon. Bye.